and Rohan Kelkar, EVP of Power Products Division at Schneider Electric. Andrea Donadel, our SVP for Strategy and Innovation for Power Products Division at Schneider Electric, and Jean-Baptiste Hazard, SVP of Channel and Quality Transformation of Power Products Division at Schneider Electric. So you might be thinking, what exactly do we mean by partnerships of the future, and why we need to do it? It's all about sustainability. Sustainability is at the heart of everything we do. Actually, in the recent report released from IDC, we know for today, more and more people view sustainability as a business issue instead of a corporate social responsibility only. So let me invite Rohan to share his view on this. Rohan, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Grace, and welcome everybody. I'm delighted to have this opportunity to speak with you today. I'm Rohan Kelkar, and as Grace mentioned, I'm the EVP for Power Products, or the low voltage commercial and industrial side of the business for Schneider Electric. I want to introduce you to the concept of Electricity 4.0. So our mission and what we do. In fulfilling this purpose, we see our mission in a very clear manner. We want to be your digital partner in sustainability and efficiency. The main challenge of our generation is probably climate change, but there's some good news. We are the generation that has come to know about it, and we are the generation that can do something about it and actually change the trajectory of carbon emissions and therefore climate change. And sustainability is at the heart of everything that we do. That's why this year we are incredibly proud to be recognized by Corporate Knights as the most sustainable corporation in the world. Not only are we leading by example in our own ecosystem, so what we do throughout our company and with our partners and our extended supply chain, but we are also helping our customers accelerate their journey to net zero with products, software, services that drive efficiency and resiliency. We believe that access to energy is a basic human right, so we engage with communities all over the world to help access green energy and make a positive difference to the environment and to our society. This ability to have such a tremendous impact is not only something that we're proud of, we take it as a real sense of responsibility, and it's a huge opportunity. Now, climate change. Right? Climate change is undeniably the defining issue of our time. And in simple terms, it's an energy challenge. Why? Because over 80% of global CO2 emissions are due to production and consumption of energy. And the way we use our energy today is inefficient. So 60% of the energy is lost or wasted. So while we see overall emissions drop slightly due to, for example, COVID restrictions in the last year, without a significant structural change, we are inevitably going to see a rebound. So we are at a critical juncture. Perhaps the way to visualize the challenge ahead is to adopt a flattening of the curve concept, which we all become familiar with through the pandemic. So I mean, the term flattening the curve seems to be pretty common here. But when you think about, we've been living in the age of fire, as we call it. So harnessing its power, fueling massive industrialization, population growth, and prosperity. But it comes at a cost as the biggest contributor to the emissions growth. So today we are at a juncture, and it's not the actions of the course of this century, so we don't have enough time. It's the actions over the next decade that we need to take to have the CO2 emissions, if we wish to stay within 1.5 degrees. That's what you've seen at some of the UN discussions of climate change. So this is a short window, and we believe that this is what we need to do in order to get to carbon neutrality by 2050. To see where we're going, we need to look at where we've been, and you see the four stages over the last 250 years. The world has gone through 4 technology-driven evolutions. So the stage 1 began with the rise of technology and the mechanization of steam and water power. This is commonly recognized as Industry 1.0. In parallel, the electricity world had its early pioneers, that's Volta and Faraday. Let's consider this 1.0. Then at stage 2, we approach the 20th century, and the world enters the age of mass production and manufacturing, defining Industry 2.0, which at the same time as mass electrification, electrical lighting was deployed at industrial scale, and we started to see the introduction of early power stations. This can be considered Electricity 2.0. Since the 1950s and into the 60s, the development of silicon led to the proliferation and automation of electronics. So this was Industry 3.0, and of course, we're quite familiar with it. We grew up in it. The development of silicon also facilitated the rise of technology and electrical devices. As well to the of solar cells, so the early solar cells that we went on to contribute to the rise of renewables and digital technology, we call this 3.0. So where are we today? Stage 4, the age of digital everywhere. Industry 4.0 is about smart machines and the IoT, the Internet of Things. On the energy side, we are witnessing the conversion of digital and electric at significant scale with software and technology driving efficiency. And this is giving birth to what we call as electricity 4.0, which is now powering our new electric world. So yes, the question is, how do we do this? Where are we? The technology already exists. The technology already exists for electricity 4.0 to decarbonize, decentralize, and to deliver a world that is more electric and more digital and more sustainable. So everything we install, everything we build today, as you know, is likely to be here for the next 20 years. So at Schneider, we believe we want to connect the dots on everything to prepare a world for electricity that will be profoundly different. So on the demand side, as we think about, we're shaping homes, we're shaping buildings, data centers, infrastructure, industries of the future. On the supply side, we're looking at grid, and we're connecting the dots between all of them, right? So the whole ecosystem here, the ecosystem play is really important, and to drive the change across our partners, customers, and finally the end users who enjoy the benefits of the new electric world. So IoT is used a lot. IoT starts with the things that we have a proud legacy of making, the very best, marketing leading things. And today we design them as digital by default. And Andrea will talk to you about this, or we call it software defined, which was once boxes are now smart connected boxes, and then combine them with software and services and empower the users and our partners to be more efficient through the use of timely project completion and around the business growth that comes with this, along with the visibility of their energy usage. So in all of these life cycle software solutions that we bring, we need to see an end-to-end efficiency from design to build to operate and maintain. When you put these three elements of innovation together, we believe we're able to have significant and unrivaled customer impact. So we have a fantastic vision of the future, and we know we can't do it alone. So that's why we have more than 500,000 partners employing over 30 million professionals all over the world. And we represent the largest community on the planet with the competency to electrify, and digitize the world. And so now, when you think about this as a high-level concept, right, let me bring it down into specifically what it means, from a partnership of a future, as well as what it means to our partners. So the way I look at it is, when you think about electrical distribution, there's really very simple. There's two pieces. There is sources and loads in a very simplistic way. And as I described earlier, there's a significant revolution going on the source side and the load side, right? So what we see as a significant trend is, from the source side, we're more committed to renewable energy. So renewable energy will drive the flexibility for the future electrical systems. And we already see that at scale, at a cost point that we feel is going to be able to deploy at scale. On the load side, we see the same thing with EV charging, and you see EV power and more decentralized grids. So again, that's something that we feel is about to be at scale. So you've heard this a lot. We talked about electricity 4.0 earlier. What does that mean from a practical standpoint? Life should be easier, but the challenge is to deploy this at scale for an end user. Things become complex. Because today, if I'm an end user, I have to deal now in this fragmented scenario across multiple potentially technologies and multiple vendors to go really deploy this at scale. So at Schneider, what we believe is we can bring this together. So that electrical distribution system of the future will not be the same as today, but we feel we have the technology together with the software where we can really help deploy that at scale and really make this vision a success. So what does partnership of the future mean, and where do our partners come in? So I kind of see three opportunities. One is we can help our partners with future-facing opportunities to really drive this new energy landscape in a simplistic way at scale. We can bring native connectivity to products to really simplify the customer experience, whether it's the end user, whether it's the installer, whether it's the panel builder or anybody in the partnership ecosystem. We can drive collaboration with the partners to really help them win more business through these open collaboration platforms, and really and realize the full potential of the digital solutions from design to build to operate. And by the way, in some of these solutions we use, for example, the BIM tools and the software platforms, they are hardware agnostic. So what that means is a partner can use them, use competitors' hardware. So really, we're trying to keep it open because we really believe in driving efficiency into this entire infrastructure and really help the world, as I said before. So with that, I'll turn it back to you, Grace.
Thank you, Rohan. Thank you very much. I think we all know that, the enabler for partnership of the future will be simplified, open, and digital. One thing for sure is that we cannot do this alone. We will need to have our partner to join us together. So, Stuart, you have been in the industry for more than 20 years, studying the partner ecosystems. And what do you think about the market response, especially, we see the new normal with COVID-19. So what is your view, and how is our partners' response? And then how do our partners stay resilient during this special moment?
Thanks, Grace. There's a lot of big questions there, but I'll try and cover them as best I can. Many thanks for the opportunity to join today. I'm Stuart Wilson. I'm a research director at IDC, focused on partnering ecosystems. When we think about partnerships of the future, we also have to consider this process of partner transformation that partners have to. What are the underlying factors that are driving this process, and why is this change so important? So what I'm going to do today is sort of introduce some insights into that process of partner transformation, because it's a process that cuts across all existing partner types and business models. What are the implications and ramifications that come about because of partner transformation? There's a reason why the strategy of vendors such as Schneider is so important to its extensive partner base. This commitment to simplified, open, and digital can actually support and accelerate the process of partner transformation, because the evolution of the partner landscape has been a constant for many, many years. But what is happening now is this process is getting faster, it's getting more challenging, and it's getting more complex. It's being driven by technology advances, it's being driven by changes in customer demand, and it's also being driven by new vendor priorities as well. How customers are looking to purchase, consume, and engage with suppliers. And when I say suppliers, I mean partners, I mean service providers, I mean vendors, I mean how they participate on marketplaces as well. This is changing fast. The options for customers are increasing, and customers also want to work with partners that can offer a strong sustainability vision and credentials in conjunction with the vendors that they represent. So these trends are opening up more options for partners in terms of how they develop their business. The need for digital transformation in customers is growing. We saw this accelerate last year because of COVID, and partners are responding to these changes and evolving their business models. And they're also assessing the strength of their current and potential revenue streams. And increasingly now, it's the ability for partners to value add and differentiate. And that is increasingly related to their own partner IP, their own unique secret sauce. That can be built around software or services. They built that IP. They need to have the ability to surface that and commercialize that IP within a wider ecosystem. As we sort of move towards a future that's services-led, software-enabled, and data-driven, all partners to some extent need to become technology-focused. And the challenge for vendors is to recognize these changes and create the platforms and programs that support partner transformation. If we could just go to the next slide, what we've been doing within IDC is we've been tracking partner transformation across multiple dimensions and linking it to a partner of the future framework to look at the strategic directions. Because over the next decade, it's not going to be enough to have skills in next generation technologies. Partners need to go further than that. Customers want to work with partners who can help them build out new digital. It's much more of a co-creation process now, leveraging technology to build new digital capabilities. As we go through this process, what I see is that the borders between different partner types, the segmentation, it continues to blur. More and more relationships within the ecosystem become cooperative. Partners will compete in some areas with each other and collaborate with each other in other areas. And many of the relationships that are built between partners will center around specific industries and ecosystems. Now, these trends are particularly relevant for the Schneider partner ecosystem, which encompasses so many different partner types. But underpinning this is the concept of the ecosystem, the traditional supply chain that we've all got used to, channels, routes to market. We're moving away from this sort of a linear model. In an ecosystem-based model, it's very fluid, it's very dynamic. And there's an opportunity for partners to look beyond the simple project, the simple install and go mentality, moving on to the next project. What they need to be looking at now is how they become trusted advisors to customers, how they're focused on that continuous journey with the customer. And much of this is being driven by their ability to provide ongoing services and support to drive those continuous long-term relationships. If we could just jump to the next slide. This all sounds great in theory, but how does it map out in reality? So what we've actually been doing through our partner surveys is actually looking at the progress that has been made in the last 2 years, making that comparison between partners in 2018 and 2020. What are partners actually doing to drive this transformation? The process of change is accelerating and it's impacting across all partner types. And the message to partners is you can't stop this process of partner transformation. You either embrace it or you deny it. But if you deny it, you could potentially be putting yourself in a very difficult position. We're seeing more partners investing in next generation technology, the related skills, the service capabilities, and the line of business skills. They're looking to get closer to the customer, to understand the customer better. We also see this increase in co-creation, with 38% more partners actively co-creating with customers and partners. Collaboration is now vital. The whole is greater than the sum of its parts. This is core to ecosystem business models. And in addition, massive increase in terms of participation on marketplaces that's gone up 67% in 2 years. So just to position that for you, we're now at a position where 71% of partners are active on marketplaces. But more importantly, what we observed is a very strong correlation between these activities that partners are doing and higher growth rates. So this is the path to growth and success for partners. So just moving forward to the next slide, we can see that COVID-19 has really sort of turbocharged the whole digital transformation process. Partners have really seen this impact on their customer base. It's moved quickly from customers talking about digital transformation to wanting to execute on it. And as the customer attitude has changed, partners have had to follow in terms of their business evolution. But it is a challenge for partners to go through this. But partner transformation is accelerating, and partner success in the next normal is going to be based on targeted approaches, focused propositions, and long-term customer relationships. Partner success is actually driven by new metrics and an increased focus on customer success and customer experience, and building this environment of mutual trust with customers as well. So we've been working with Schneider on an info brief talking about the process of partner transformation. And if we move forward to the next slide, there are 5 core steps that partners need to look at as they go through this transformation journey. The first one is to make sure that they're actually talking to their primary vendors to understand how they can help them accelerate their own process of partner transformation. Secondly, create this customer success focus internally. The biggest challenge for many partners is bringing a services mindset to sales. And thirdly, really look to collaborate to develop sales playbooks based on use cases and make sure that the long-term benefits are baked into customer propositions. And again, it's this idea of, we're not just solving an immediate problem, we're actually solving an immediate problem, but we're also setting you up as a customer for a successful long-term future. And much of this is also related to identifying and building these new revenue streams, such as new services and unique IP to monetize alongside the core solution portfolio. And also focus on a culture that values accelerated and continuous transformation. The process of partner transformation never ends. Partners have to keep evolving to make sure that they're keeping up with the changing customer demands and customer behavior. And I can't stress that fact enough. So just moving forward to bring it all together, when we look at the core pillars of partner success, it's really built around 3 areas, around value, collaboration, and services. But these core pillars are interconnected. And for many partners, the business owners, the leaders, the executives, those responsible for strategy, they require vision to see where the market is going, where the customers are going, and how to respond to it as well. And, many of these changes are being driven by the customer. Partner transformation it's not an easy process, but it's a necessity to survive and thrive as a partner. And the simplified, open, and digital commitment from Schneider aligns with this vision, because it translates into an ability for partners to work together, to collaborate and deliver new services to customers. In a future that's data-driven, software-enabled, there's continuous services that can create amazing customer experiences and drive customer success. So there's a real door of opportunity there for ecosystem participation for partners, but it's really about which partners are prepared to actually take it and go through that door. As you embrace these areas as well, it's putting partners in a position where they can enhance customer experience and drive long-term customer success. And this is absolutely key. If I bring this all together, the key thing to take away is that vendor success, partner success, and customer success, they move as one. And the vision for partnerships of the future, is based on simplified, open, and digital. And those are the foundations, those are the platform for success that enables the customer, partner, and vendor ecosystem to flourish and move as one. Could talk for hours about partner of the future and partner transformation, but I know that Schneider have got a lot more content to get through. So thanks for listening, and I'll hand back to Grace at that point.
Thank you very much, Stuart. This is very insightful, especially when seeing the chart, how big the change is during the past 2 years from 2018 to 2020. We see more, more interaction, required more collaboration, more business, new business model. We are moving from the linear one, and also more technology, even with the culture. So I think all of this, they're leading to the more complexity. So actually our goal in Schneider is to manage the complexity for our partners. And we want to bring simplified user experience to our partners and also our customers. So Andrea, I think the question is to you. Can you share with us a bit, on how we in Schneider, we are creating the simplified way of working for our partners together?
Okay, thank you, Grace. So yes, I'm Andrea Donadel. I'm the Senior Vice President for Strategy for Power Products. And I will try to give you, I think Stuart and Rohan really introduced very well what we are seeing is changing in the market. Now, I'll try to give you some very pragmatical example on what we are trying to do. And let's start from simplified, where the first step is what we are trying to do today is what we call digital by default. Everybody talks about digital, and there is a lot of things happening about digital, but in Schneider, our nature is actually to work through partners, to work with our partners, also as Stuart was highlighting how much it is important. But then we need to help them on drive this digital transformation and be sure actually that they're not squeezed on this transformation. So this is why we are now running with PrismaSeT Active and with Compact Active, our new panel board and breakers for power distribution, but actually are connected without any extra effort by our partners. So you energize the panel and the panel will be able to provide connection information directly. And this is a great help because of course, and actually I've seen also some of the question in the chat, of course there is a concern about cybersecurity, complexity of the connectivity. Connectivity actually is very regional. This is what we are trying to take care for our partners. We provide the answer, just providing a solution that connected by default without any action. Then, yes, if we go to the next slide, another example is that we prepare all our innovation to be ready for what will come in the future. I think everybody is seeing what is happening with the electric vehicle. Everybody is seeing what is happening with renewable energies. And again, we have seen from Rohan some clear trends for how the explosion of growth in terms of power generation done more locally, and also a change on the different kind of loads where we have much more direct current application compared to the past. So this is why at Schneider Electric, we are creating a portfolio of product that by nature can work in a hybrid system. What is a hybrid system? It's a system where you have a piece of AC, alternate current, and a piece of DC, direct current. So there you could combine what can be from your home, where you have your electric car charging in your garage, but maybe even providing power to your house. Or you have at the same time PV panels on your roof that are actually collecting energy in a very sunny and brilliant day or not. And maybe even some batteries to help all that system. But then at the same time, you're still managing your traditional loads. You still have an AC oven, or you still have many other AC loads that you still need to manage. So we are preparing, we are ready for this part. We have also offered inside some of our smaller entity like DC systems, but we also have our own traditional offer that can really play that well in this area. Then the next one that I want to show is about sustainability. Sustainability, it's a very buzzword right now, but what is a problem also for our partners in this case is to embark in this journey. For them, in many cases, it's still very difficult, and because it's not that a simple way to manage to find recycled materials, to find a simplified way to use recycled products, and even a discussion about circular economy, frankly, is still very complex in our industry. But this is why we start from the basic. And so some example is our green packaging solution. So we have drastically changed how we do package for all our products, and it can be from a breakers down for a switchgear or a panel board. We only use cardboard now. And so that is, of course, a massive reduction in plastics. And of course, it's a great step for us, but also for our partners versus a more sustainable way to run our business. Then another example is our SF6-free solution for medium voltage. So we are the first one to introduce a solution on medium voltage where we don't use anymore SF6, but it's clearly a very polluting gas. So these are all duties that we believe as a leader in our industry, as a leader in innovation, we have to do for us, but most of all, also for our partners, and make for our partners the journey very simple so that they don't need to invest so much. We just need to work together to achieve results. So with this example, I give it back to you, Grace, so that we can see also the other part with open and digital.
Yeah, thank you, Andrea. Actually, it's very exciting to see so many innovations, but I guess this is the first step. With the continuous innovation, we will enable our partners to be more sustainable and efficient during the life cycle, from design to build to maintain. And earlier, Stuart was mentioning that the new normal is requiring more collaboration from our partners as well. So at Schneider, we are committed to unleash the infinity possibilities of an open community that offers collaborative opportunities and insight for exchange among our partners. So Jean-Baptiste, as the channel and the transformation SVP, can you share with us a bit more, a few examples on actually how Schneider has invested in this area?
Absolutely, and thank you very much, Grace. Hello to all of you. Indeed, my name is Baptiste Hazard, and I am in charge of channels and transformation for Power Products. So basically, when we think of partners, we think about the full ecosystem of partners, and we want to make sure that there is consistency across this ecosystem. Schneider Electric is working with about 650,000 partners, and we want to ensure that each of them is getting value out of it. So, for example, we are promoting the values of electrical distribution: safety, availability, efficiency, sustainability, cybersecurity, and we are promoting that to design firms. But in parallel of that, we are ensuring that panel builders, contractors have the competency to assemble and commission the solutions meeting these kind of values. And if I go further in this example, for safety, we've been promoting combos about the electrical fire prevention in several countries of Europe and international. And we've trained partners to specify offers like Prismaset Active, heat tag, and so on to deliver this value when they are put together. So to animate digitally this ecosystem of partners, we are allowing partners to connect to each other through online communities. And we have communities on Exchange and on what we call Seamless, our partner relationship management portal. And we also have communities on LinkedIn, on WeChat for design firms. Now, by joining our partner programs, our partners are given access to a series of benefits that you can see here on the screen. Amongst these benefits, to make their life easier, we are offering a seamless digital experience. The goal is to make it easier for them to have access to all key features, tools, and information through a simple interface with a single sign-on. Another benefit is our reference architectures for segments. They represent what we call TVDAs. It's tested, validated, documented architectures. They are leveraging all the offers of the group, and this is for segments like data centers, healthcare, mining, oil and gas, and so on. Finally, we're opening the door to operational expenditures. Do you know that in a building, the initial construction only represents about 25% of the cost of the building across its entire life cycle? And in other words, it means that there is about 75% of the cost that are going to maintenance and operations. And so with our connected offers, we are opening the door to services. And it makes it possible for a partner to expand its activity in services and get recurring business from services. Now, let's move to the next slide. About 2 years ago, we launched a new program for design firms and a new program for panel builders. What we changed and revolutionized at that time with these programs was really that we were addressing the needs and pain points that partners are facing every day. You know, it's not about pushing what we want, but it's really about what they need. And if I take an example, during the COVID lockdown, we surveyed our partners to hear directly from them what their pain points are. The number one pain point they were sharing with us was how to keep a relationship with their customers in a lockdown situation. So we organized dedicated webinars on this specific topic across the world, and we invested in the acceleration of digitization with them. So if we look at this page, we now have more than 300,000 digitally active partners with Schneider Electric. It represents more than 200% raise since 2019. They participate to monthly webinars, they connect to our digital platforms like Exchange and so on. And we have also massively invested in training. And in 2021, we are delivering more than 7,000 trainings to digitally upskill our partners. And it represents a 250% increase since 2019. We are global with a local presence. And the programs are giving a global framework, and they are localized in the countries where the partners are to be as close as possible to the local needs. So these programs have been very well accepted by the market, and you can see here on the screen the recognition that we got for the panel builder program with the 5-star CRN recognition in 2021, which is a great acknowledgement of what we really mean for our partners. I'm also pleased to announce that we are currently launching a new program for contractors with the same mindset as what we did for design firms and panel builders. Let's move to the next page. As you could see in the presentation from Stuart from IDC, our partners are asking for more training. We have listened to them and we are doubling our investment in partner training this year. It allows to bring them more expertise on digital offers and application specializations. And as you could see on the previous slide, training is a reality with the number of trainings that we have delivered. It's also a reality with the investment that we are putting on this topic. And I tell you, we are really serious about training. Partners are the extended arm of Schneider Electric. Hence, they should at least know as much as we do in Schneider Electric. Let's move to the next page. We've talked about the partner ecosystem, and here I want to bring a real example of a panel builder in the UK, which is a key player in this ecosystem. This partner got 2 EcoExpert certifications. One that is on the low voltage panel assembly. It means that it's a king of electrotechnique. The other one is on the digital panel, which means that it's a king in digitization. In summary, Halson have an expertise to assemble low voltage panels with digital components inside. They can connect their panels and the components inside the panels to the cloud. And Rohan earlier was talking about the new energy landscape. Halson is getting fully equipped to deal with this new energy landscape. On another front, Halson is also very advanced in the configuration of their panels, and they are using C electrical software to allow them to do that very efficiently. And so thanks to the benefits of the program, they were able to reduce their lead time by about 25% and significantly improve their turnover. And so you see, we are trying to make it a true business benefit for our partners. So I'm done with this open pillar. Now I hand over to you, Grace.
Thank you, Jean-Baptiste. This investment and also the channel specialization program will certainly drive more growth and efficiency for our partners. And speaking of the efficiency, actually, digital is the enabler to enable everything to be more efficient and also to make things more meaningful. So I think, Andrea, we are, very interested to know a few of the examples from, Schneider, what we are doing regarding the digital transformation for our partners.
Thank you, Grace. So sorry, everyone, you're back with me again. So if we look at, well, let's start from one piece again. We have seen it also before, but it's about the meaningful connectivity. So when we talk digital for Schneider, what we really want to be sure that is not only a buzzword, but it's really bring a benefit from what you have to do. And of course, in this case, in particular today, we're talking about what can be good for our partners. So if you look, and we'll see later on also in the cycle in the coming slides, in our industry, there is always more or less the same journey, right? Someone has to design the system, has to configure, select the right components, do the right selection, then make it the real engineering, and then you have to install it, commission, and then you really take the right action when it's in place. So you see, it's a very complex, actually, it's a very complex value chain. And this is why what we are trying to do with our digital transformation that actually started a long time ago, we're really trying to simplify each steps on this part. So if we go on the next slide, I think I will try to show you what this means for us, the digital transformation for resilient operations. And if you don't go on the slides, I will still tell you.
Yeah, we are speaking of digital, but we are actually, I think the slide is disconnected, so it's a challenge.
No. It's a challenge, but actually it's good because that is a way to prove how much we know the journey of our partners. Yeah, exactly. So the first step that you have to do, of course, you have to design, and then you have to follow all the different steps of the configuration. So what does it mean when you actually now in operations? And what do you do with the data that actually you could get? Thank you for the slide. When you have a product. So we have seen that our product. So we start from the hardware, from the steel in a certain way. Our products are natively connected. So that is simple for the panel builders. We have seen also, but even for any others to actually find a way to connect these devices. Then the next step is to collect this data. And here you still need to start to do a first selection because there is a lot of data that actually are not useful, but there are many others that are super useful. Then you have to convert this data in insightful information. So a data by itself doesn't tell you anything. You need to analyze it and convert it in meaningful insights. And then most of all, you need to take a different decision. You may just want to have information. So again, see the data in information that is meaningful for you. Or in many cases, most of the time, you need to take action. So you see, it's a very complex part. And where we are really trying to go is that we simplify all the first part. So how to connect, how to collect this data and this piece of information. And then we want to drive in a very safe way to analyze, inform, and take action. Because this is why we are fundamentally still focused on our fundamentals in terms of power distribution. But it's about safety. In the end, when you do power distribution, there are really two key values. You want the maximum availability of power, and you want the maximum safety, because if there is a short circuit, if there is an overheating, I mean, people can get injured or even die. And definitely you cannot accept this one. And so even if you start to connect and if you have a digital experience, you will never compromise on safety. But then at the same time, the demand of energy is much higher. So you need to increase your efficiency, and you need to do in a very sustainable way. But it means sustainable not only in terms of how much is green, but also how much is accessible for people that today don't have access to energy. So these remain our core 4 pillars. On top of this, right now, and again, I go back to some of the questions that I've seen in the chat, it's cybersecurity. In the past, you have never thought that somebody can hack your power distribution system. Now it could happen. So that's why we cannot give up, and we cannot pay attention on the different elements. And this can be from the electronic chips that we put inside of our devices, but it will go also in what we do to provide software that actually are capable to really remain cyber safe and well protect and access only to the right user in the different moment of the application and in the different moment of the value chain. So to do so, and if we go on the next slide, I think we have seen with both through the simplified part, but also through the open part with what we're doing with Olson, we have seen how much we have done already on the hardware part. Now let's see also what we're doing on the software part. So of course, Schneider historically we've been capable of doing our own software and grow with this software organically, but we realized that it was not enough. So on top of all the different advisors that we have already today, Power Advisor, Building Advisor, now we are really expanded our portfolio through a different set of acquisition, and now we have much more bullets in our guns. So you can see, and you have seen again the example of Hudson, that we start from the electrical design piece, where today we have CE Electrical, we have ETAP with us, and we have Caneco from Alpi. So all this has made our capability to cover different kind of application, different kind of geographies, much more complete. But it's not enough, because again, if you just design a system, it doesn't mean that you take full advantage of what you can get from that system. You also need to find a good way and a very efficient way to construct the site. So to connect on what were the prescription from the specifier. Are you really choosing the right product? Can you connect the connectivity, as we are saying, in the way that you conduct the data? So that's why we have also M2 now with us, with the RIB, where we have a 16 beam platform. So to really optimize also the cost when it's a construction management moment of our value chain. And then last but not least, there is the operate. I mean, if you have invested so much in your CapEx of your building and you have optimized a building and all the devices are the right one, you still need to want an easy way to get this data and analyze them. And again, as I was saying before, either provide the right level of information or take action. So this is why now Schneider is really becoming also let me tell you, a software partner for all our partners. Sorry for the repetition, because we are really expanding our portfolio. And I can tell you it's not over. So all these things are getting connected between each other. Our acceleration also on the hardware platform will increase, as Rohan has mentioned before, and we will keep pushing in this direction, because we think it's the only way is to work for this free principle, make things simple, open, and digital. And in the end, it's actually having only free principle is make it easier for us also to execute and not only to talk about it. So Grace, I'll give it back to you.
Thank you, Andrea. So I think now we have more information about the partnership of the future. So actually, what we want to do is together with our partners, we want to help to shape the new electric world with simplified, open, and digital solution. We simplify our partner and user experience. We enable our partner with an open partner ecosystem, collaborative platform, and interoperable architecture. And then, of course, we offer advanced digital solution and the software to make things resilient, efficient, and then being ready for future growth. So now we have a few of the questions from the chat. We will open for a few. So the first one is about how can partnership unleash the new energy and the transportation landscape? The question is to you, Rohan.
That's a great question. And actually, I'd almost start with an example of how we've actually done it.
Hello?
The example, can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you, Rohan.
Okay. Grace, they can hear me, so I'll keep going. So the example I'll give you actually is a practical example of a partnership we just established in Montgomery County in Maryland. Recently we announced with our partner in Alpha Structure in the US. Right. So the situation there is the local county, a really progressive county, wanted to make sure that when they invested in their EV charging infrastructure, they wanted to be sustainable and resilient. So working in a private-public partnership that we have with, for example, our partners in Alpha Structure, we enable not only the installation of a microgrid together with their bus EV charging solution, but we are also able to go in a way working with the county to basically enable them from a financing standpoint. So really, when you think of it as energy as a service, this is an example where working with our partners, we're able to go deploy it for them, not just the technology part of the solution, but also the financing and the structuring of that, so that it's really efficient and economical for the government entity to be managing it. And that's a pretty big win, and that's a clear example.
Okay. I think that's clear. So maybe I think maybe we have still time to open another one. So the next question is why are partnerships key to the sustainable innovation? So I think, Andrea, this question is going to you, because you were talking about the innovations earlier.
Okay. Thank you, Grace. But frankly, it's not only for sustainability, but it's a little bit for everything. There is innovation. But let's stay on the sustainability topic. Even if you are a big player in the market as we are, of course, in the moment that we introduce a new product that bring a benefit in terms of efficiency and optimization of the system, it's impactful. No question, especially if you are a big player. But imagine when you have seen how many partners we have with JB. So imagine the power of your action when you can actually multiply by the network of partners that you have. So that's the first reason. So it's a purely multiplication of the effect and the power that you can give driving that via partners. Then the other part that I will say, it's a little bit, we are in a unique situation, as Rohan and Stuart has mentioned before, where everything is changing and is becoming more digital. So when you have this kind of transformation, usually speed is a key ingredient. So even if you are a strong player as we are, so even if you master technology, you have a network of good partners, you are very global, so you cover all the geographies. At a certain point, you realize that really you need the power of two in a certain way. So if you really want to keep up with the pace of the transformation that are happening, the only way is to work also with some partners that work with you. And I think, as Stuart mentioned very clearly, is no more a competition. There must be competition and cooperation. And that is true, of course, for us, and it will be true also for our partners. That's where there is a power of having platform like Exchange, where we connect also the partners between them. So that in some case, they can address the demand and the transformation together. So for me, these are the two key elements. Multiply, meaning really multiply for the number of partners, and the other part, somehow the strength for being together rather than addressing this big transformation alone.
Okay. Thank you very much, Andrea. And then we still have, we have a lot of the questions. So the other one is co-creating products solutions in partnership with others compatible with healthy competition and or cyber secure. So Stuart, I think you might be helped to answer the question.
Yeah, of course. I think it's a necessity when you're participating in an ecosystem. You have to have this acceptance that you can't be the best at everything. And once you accept that and you actually look to reach out to other partners that can complement and strengthen what you do, then you are delivering a more comprehensive and a more appropriate solution to the customer. The idea of the ecosystem is that everyone who participates gets direct benefits from that participation. And as a group, they become stronger. And I think in terms of the cybersecurity question, it's absolutely essential that suppliers such as Schneider are controlling that underlying platform. It's what they're doing at the underlying platform and how they're pushing that out through the ecosystem and allowing partners to actually build and develop on this that ensures that minimum level of cybersecurity is met, if not exceeded. So it's a mind shift for partners, but it's an absolutely necessary mind shift for them to remain relevant in the future.
Yeah, thank you very much. And then I think we still have 1 minute for the last one. Can we rely on partnerships to manage critical infrastructure and the data centers? So Jean-Baptiste, maybe this is to you.
Okay. So I would say, first of all, when we look at the speed of development and also the scale of the investment that is happening in critical infrastructure and data centers, I mean, it's absolutely key to rely on partners to get scale and to be able to deliver what actually all the clients are expecting in this field. Secondly, one thing I was explaining earlier is that partners are really the extended arm of Schneider Electric, and we consider them as being our extended arm, and therefore we want to equip them with the necessity knowledge to be able to deliver our solutions in the state of the art. And therefore, we've been investing heavily in training. Also, as part of our programs, we have created specializations by segment. So we have a specialization certification for data center and for some critical applications, and we are equipping them with the reference architectures I was mentioning about, and also the state of the art to be able to create and install and commission all these solutions in really all the professionalism that is required.
Thank you very much, JB. Thank you. So thank you all for joining us today. We hope you're as excited as we are. And then we look forward to teaming up with you for the mutual success in new electric world. And I'd like to thank you very much for staying with us, and then also extend a special thanks to all the speakers. So as we always say in Schneider, it's our mission to be your digital partner for efficiency and sustainability. And with this, we close the session of Partnership of the Future. Future-proof it for life. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Thank you.